Hello again. With us today is the actress who played the au pair girl on We've Got It Made and who can claim to have been associated with geniuses. She's Teri Copley. Our other guest can be said to live life in a superlative manner. Well remembered as Ralph Malph on Happy Days, he's Don Most. And now, here's your man of the half hour, Skippy Lowe.
Don Most. People, you use Don. Do you like Donny?
Well, my friends still might call me Donny.
Donny.
But for professional purposes,
I don't blame you.
I thought it was time to grow up.
I hate when people call me Skippy.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I terrifying. I like Skip.
Right.
Yeah, I understand what you mean by that.
Good, we can relate.
Don, Brooklyn.
Absolutely.
Happy Days. My God, I want to get back to that. But you are with a wonderful show right now at the Tiffany Theater on Sunset.
Right, on Sunset, yeah.
With a fine Hollywood actors.
Absolutely.
Teri Copley sitting next to you. How are you, Carey?
Fine Hollywood actor.
Good, you are.
Well,
My God, you were discovered here in Hollywood too.
And just read Dramalog today, and they'll tell you how wonderful she is.
I Think I Killed My Wife. What a
Right.
title of a play. Tell me about it.
Do you want to start with
No,
this?
you were. You're the one that thought you killed her.
Well, it's basically a comedy, and I play a tax attorney, somewhat of a bookish type character who, in a fit of passion, totally against his character, he thinks he might have, it was kind of accidental or whatnot. I don't want to give too much away, but he thinks he's not sure he might have actually killed his wife. And he's kind of like wandering around, and he winds up just to talk to somebody and be with somebody. He meets up with Teri's character's a prostitute, and
Kitty Kid.
Kitty Kid.
right. So then she takes me out to her apartment, and then the relationship ensues from there, and it's very funny and some nice moments that counterpoint the comedy, I think.
Teri Copley, discovered here in Hollywood. Grew up here in Hollywood?
Well, I grew up in Covina, which
Covina?
is about a half hour south of here.
You're lovely. Your lips, they're in. Red lips. Well, you're standing by the elevator. Tell me about that.
Well, I went to go for an interview that I wanted to be an actress, but to get into this business is ridiculous. So I had my mother call up and say that she was a friend of this producer's from high school. And when he got on the phone, I said, I'm an actress and I want to audition. He said, no, darling. That's not the way we do it. But I begged him, and he finally let me come. I didn't get that part, but as I was leaving, this man was closing up his shop, and he said, are you an actress? And I said, no, but I want to be. And it was Dan Malthrop at the Michigan agency, and he gave me his card, and I checked it out, and within a week, I was working.
Really? Did you study?
No,
before that?
I did not study. I did not study. What I did was I went, and I was very naive, and I just went and lived like make-believe, like little children do when I could act. And I didn't study, but however, I have been studying for the past year and a half now.
With who?
With Bob Carnegie at Playhouse West, and he teaches Sandy Meisner technique.
Very good.
And so it's nice because now I'm studying with something that comes from instinct, which is the way I started working in the first place. So,
Don, smart. You know why? She's studying theater, she's doing theater, and that's where it developed to become a good actress. That is what you're doing a lot nowadays.
Yes.
Theater.
More so than anything else, yes.
That is your love. Your first love, is it?
I guess my training started when I grew up in New York, and it was a workshop, and it was all theatrical type productions that we were doing. So I guess it was my first love, and I do love the energy and the immediacy of the theater. But it's funny. I mean, I also love working in front of a camera, and I think we had this discussion when the play started, like, which do you prefer? And it's strange. There are times when I'm yearning to get back on stage, and then after I've been doing that for a while and I enjoy that, then I want to get back in front of the camera because it's a different challenge, and there are different obstacles that you have to overcome in each medium, and they're both rewarding.
Brooklyn, my hometown, really. New York's my home, but Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Love Brooklyn.
Lower East Side.
Lower East Side, Cherry Street, right. But tell me about Brooklyn. Growing up in Brooklyn, went to same school where Barbara Streisand, a lot of great people.
Right, Erasmus Hall High School has a huge legendary alumni. When I look back, it was an incredible experience, and you know, I think that it's a fervent kind of a melting pot as New York is,
yes.
and a great environment, I think, for an actor. And that's why I think, you know, a lot of people always say, oh, New York actors, and I've often had discussions about this, because it's so, you have to adapt so much
yes.
in New York, just living, just day-to-day living, you have to adapt so much that it gives that energy and that, I think, a certain skill that comes in handy as an actor. It was a wonderful experience and so different. When I look back, sometimes it seems like it was a dream and that I didn't really grow up there. You know, it's weird.
The commercials. You started in commercials, then came to Hollywood, right?
Yes.
That's what happened to Don most?
Well, I was in the workshop, you know, studying in this class, and then I met a woman who became my manager back then, Selma Rubin, who was my manager for 17 years. I'm no longer with her, but I was with her from the beginning of her career and my career. And she introduced me to some agents, and with the red hair and the look I had, seemed the right thing. They got me into commercials. I got my SAG card that way, but I was yearning to do more than that, and that's what it, and I wasn't getting anywhere, so inevitably that's what brought me out here.
Happy Days. Immediately, after 6 months, wasn't it something like that?
I came out to LA in the summer of '73, and I got the show the end of October, November, and we were on the air in January.
And 7 years. Don Most, 7 years. It's a long time, isn't it, Terry? To be on a show 7 years. Did you have a good time?
For 7 years.
You were on your show. You had a show for a long time, too, Terry.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
long.
pretty good with 2 years. 7,
years.
I've never made anything
Yeah,
to 7.
7 is a long time. Your show was very, very good. You enjoyed doing it. How did you get your show?
I auditioned like everybody else.
I like that. You did?
Yeah, I did. I really went through the whole auditioning, and which I always do, you know. There's been 1 or 2 things that I got to do without auditioning, but...
Your voice. I love your voice. You have an interesting voice, doesn't she, Dawn?
Yes, very distinctive.
I think that is very distinct, your voice.
Gets me in a lot of trouble.
It has? It sounded like a little girl.
It's stereotyped, you know. It's something that people will say, oh, you know, the voice, and it's like they want to put it in a category, you know. Although when
Judy
I do
Holliday, look at Judy Holliday. Oh, she was great.
I mentioned Judy Holliday to you once, because...
Doesn't she? She could do a Judy Holliday thing. She would be wonderful in that.
Born Yesterday.
Born Yesterday. Lots of wonderful things she hasn't even touched on yet.
Well, you know, a lot of people say, why don't you take voice lessons and try to change your voice and make it more sophisticated? But you know what? My voice is my voice, and the last thing I want to do is learn how to make it affected, you know? Because my voice is natural. I don't think about it. I just talk, you know?
Yeah. Who did you look up to when you were a child, as growing up here in California?
You know what?
Some of the actresses, like
really?
Marilyn?
No, but I knew you would say that, but no.
No. Okay.
Really nobody.
Really?
That I really looked up to as an actress. I think if I did really have anybody that I liked as a child, it was Lana Turner. And really from the movie she did with Clark Gable that she called him useless. And I don't really recall the name, but I remember the way she called him useless. I was like, boy, is that perfect for a man? No, I'm kidding.
Are you married? Are you married to her? Are you married to her? Listen to that. You guys having fun?
Donny has had to listen to me, and now he's getting kind of used to me. Just
Are you having fun during this play, you two? You're having fun, huh?
Very much. It was difficult for a while because the approach to the play, they've changed a couple of times.
Yes.
You know, they're going in one direction, and then we went in a different direction. It was tough on the cast, but now that we finally opened, it's been a lot of fun. You know.
Reviews just came out. Drama Law gave a review today.
Well,
good review. Both of you two.
Of the actors. And the play. That you know, they like aspects of the play. You know, it's very funny and it gets a lot of laughs. You know, it's not unqualified rave, but I just picked them up and they've been very
Variety
very nice.
gave you a good review.
Very nice to Terry and I. Yes. Very nice.
Donny, Don Most. You're married. Have children.
Right.
2?
2 girls.
2 girls?
One's about almost 11 months old, and the other's a little more than 2.5.
Ah, how nice.
Yeah, so that's a whole new.
You did a great movie. I love that movie, Crazy Mamas, with Clorette Schleichman, which I adore. I think she is the great actress.
I think she's terrific.
Yeah,
yes.
she is. You did that film with her
back,
way back when. Stuart Whitman was in it.
Stuart Whitman, Jonathan Demme directed it.
Yes.
And that was one of his first films, and he's come a long way. I mean, not that this was a good start for him. I enjoyed working with him immensely on that film. I did that back in like 1976. Yeah. So, but they run it. It's still on cable from time to time.
Yes, they do. Happy Days. I know everybody asked you about that, but did you have a lot of fun doing that show?
Oh yes. The first 3-4 years were unbelievable. I mean, when I look back, it was not only the rapport that we all had and the great relationship that we had with each other, but the creative evolution of those first 3 years was.
Right.
When you look at the people who were involved in that, you know,
who are some?
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, great director.
Knows what he's doing. Garry Marshall was our executive producer, who is directing, you know, all kinds of films now that are doing, you know, he's doing extremely well. Henry Winkler, Jerry Paris, who was our director. Who was a brilliant comedic mind and wonderful guy, and Tom Bosley, you know, and now Anson Williams, who's directing, who's doing very well. I mean, and Lowell Gans, who was our producer, he's writing, working with Ron very closely in all the movies. Parenthood, they wrote that
nice
film.
guy, Ron Howard. He's got to be a real, genuine
That's
American.
Exactly it.
He's really a parent, isn't he? Really is a good human being, isn't he?
He's, you know, very, very straightforward, honest, terrific guy that, you know, we had a great relationship. Unfortunately, I don't get to see him as much now because he's all over the country. And
so you people all don't. Do you have a meeting sometime, like
We haven't had any kind of big reunion in a while. We probably should. Marion Russ was talking about that recently, who I saw in a play. She was in Steel Magnolias.
Yes, I just saw that. It was great.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yes, it was. Teri, you sing? Dance? Do any singing, dancing? Come on, Teri.
I play with it. I mean,
okay.
I've done some recordings, but I'm not. That would not be my forte. But I do enjoy doing it. But it's not something I've ever studied or, you know.
Doing your series for 2 years, you enjoyed doing it? Did you? Did you have a good time?
I really did.
You played. It played what was it? A prostitute, like, or was it at the beginning?
No, that's in the play.
That's why
I
played a maid.
Yeah.
I played a maid. With
Was it fun?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, except for, you know, I guess, you know, it was one of those things that you kind of get stuck into a stereotype or a rut that I've been fighting for a long time. But.
What would you like to do, Teri?
Well,
what would you really like to do here? I mean, scripts are coming to Teri Copley all the time.
Well,
you read a lot of them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What I would like to do, I really would just like to be able to do roles that have a beginning, a middle, end, have a life, substance, subtext. You know, I want to be an actress. I don't care about the fame and the glitz and the, you know, I'm willing to
so that is
give
why
all of that up and take a lesser role, but be an actress. You know,
so Teri Copley is not a Hollywood scene going out to clubs every night dancing?
Oh, I do that once in a while because I have 2 children at home also. That's my time to sometimes be me.
So you do have 2 children?
I do.
You are married still?
Yes. No.
Huh?
No.
No?
No.
Would you have a boy and a girl? Or?
I have 2 girls.
2 girls. You guys are busy, aren't you? You keep yourselves very, very busy. Don, would you like to direct?
Yes,
you
I
do.
would.
You do.
Everyone else on her show is doing it. It seems. I would like to, and people have been telling me for a long time that I should.
Yes.
I've only recently been starting to pursue it a little bit, but I haven't really actively pursued it.
Even with this play. With this play, I said, Don, you got to direct because he does things, and he doesn't just do it as an actor. He really has a directive mind. You know, he's.
So has he directed you some things? Would you?
Yeah, he has all of us. He's really given us all little bits here and there, and you know, said where things really feel like they should work better here, work better there. You know.
Sometimes it's hard. You know, I should keep my mouth shut, and I shouldn't do that. And it's hard because sometimes it's. You just have such a strong impulse to say something, and it could be the wrong thing to do sometimes.
Yes, but when you've been doing a show for 7 years on a basic show, I mean, you're there 5 days a week, aren't you?
Yeah, and some of it is.
Have to know.
It's funny because I had that discussion with Anson or Ron. Is that you don't realize how much of it is absorbed and assimilated, and then it comes back, you know, and it comes up, and I realize that's true. So I would like to, but you know, comedy, ironically enough, is not really what I feel most comfortable in.
Really?
Not at all. I mean, when I first came out to L.A., I was, you know, just looking for work and try to get my career going, and it just so happened that I was, as a matter of fact, the same time I was up for Happy Days, I was being considered for a TV film that was a dramatic role.
Right.
And I was being considered for both, and it looked like I was going to be offered both of them, but I had to make a decision because the offer didn't come through on the dramatic one, and the other one did, and I had to make a decision. So I went with that, and then people know me as comedic.
Right.
But what I really feel more comfortable in is
doing
a more serious type
How about
work.
you? Same thing, Teri? Same, very same. It seemed like to me you would like to do the same thing.
Well, I do. You know, I love, listen.
Comics
when
want
you
to be
do
dramatic
comedy,
actors.
listen,
Comics really want to be dramatic actors.
But you want to know the
comedy.
truth.
Yeah,
The
that
truth of
comes
it
together.
is that when you do comedy,
Yes.
you don't do it as though you're doing a comedy.
Of course.
You do it with a sense of reality that could be dramatic, and there always is dramatic moments within the comedy. The thing about comedy is that there's a sense of timing, and there's a little bit difference in the way you deliver things, and a little bit of truth that you have to believe a little bit more. But basically, I think most comedians could be very good at dramatic things. I think the opposite is a little bit more difficult to do for a dramatic, because there is a sense of timing and that you're either gifted with or you're not, and it's not something that you can learn to know when to do, for things to come out of you spontaneously, just come out of you.
I saw you
That's
at
true.
Dorothy Chandler. That's very true. I saw you at Dorothy Chandler's Strike Up the Band with Tom Bosley. Was that great? You were wonderful in that.
Oh, thank you. It was fun. It was an old play, as you know, originally done in 1927. So it was interesting doing something from that period where they tried to be very true to the period. They did not try to update it.
Right.
So, you know, it's an old script, and it's George Kaufman wrote it, and the music by George Gershwin. So it was an honor to be involved in a piece of material such as that.
What does Donny most at this time of your life, right now, would like to do? I know you're doing a play, but what would you really like to do, Don?
I would like to be working continuously in one kind of role, say in a film, then go to another role in a play, and then go to a film, and just keep playing very different, you know, various types of roles, and challenging roles, and ones that I can continue to grow, and hopefully, you know, never stop. I mean, that's what I just want to keep working in good projects.
So what would you tell the young people out there who would like to get into a series, a comedy series or a dramatic series, when they're coming to Hollywood? How would they prepare themselves? Would they finish their education? Or
how would you answer that
I
question?
know exactly what I would say.
Would you, please?
I would say find a very good workshop, and before you start to pursue anything, get involved in a good acting workshop. If you're in New York, the Neighborhood Playhouse, or in LA, somewhere that is reputable, that people that you know have studied there, that have been, and find out if you really have it in you to be an actor, because not everybody does. We all want to be stars, but not everybody really has that drive, and it's a lot of hard work. It's not something you say, oh, I want to be an actor, because it's hard work.
The thing about that is...
You said the drive. There's consistency.
Because you have to be willing to
Persistence.
fail if you want to succeed with dignity. You know?
I like that, failing. You got to fail.
Yeah.
Exactly, I agree
So
with
it's
you. Go ahead,
really
Tony. What were you
Yeah,
saying?
Terry's absolutely right. I mean, you have to experience, you have to take the risks and be willing to fail in order to learn the lessons that will keep you from making those same mistakes. And how do you do that without actually failing? And one of the toughest things about it, and what Terry was alluding to also, is the drive, is in that there can be wonderfully talented people who are not, you know, it would be like banging their heads against the wall. I mean, they have the talent, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to succeed just because you're talented. I mean, the business is not a logical one where, you know, where it's like A plus, you know, A and B then lead to C. You know, it doesn't necessarily work that way.
And the worst part is to hear people that are beautiful people, like you have, you know, people all over the world that are beautiful, and they say because they're beautiful that they want to be actresses or actors, and really don't know anything what it's about. I mean, they take up years and years of their life fooling themselves about becoming an actor, because people are smart. You know, the thing of it is that people, the audience, the people that watch things are so smart that they pick up on everything. And so you have to, especially casting people and audiences, you either are really an actor from in here that you have to do it. There's nothing else for you, or you don't, because a beautiful face doesn't mean you're an actor, and people are insulted by it nowadays. So especially if you have a beautiful face, you have to work twice as hard to overcome that and to become serious.
Has that been your problem? Really, has that been your problem, you feel, Carey? Because you're speaking right out.
I don't think it's actually a beautiful face. I think more it's a quality that I fit into, you know, that could become more absent-minded or you know, be put somewhere that I'm just not going to allow happen to me. But instead of doing that, I've said, okay, I'll take the chance and go to class and give up the fame and give up the easy things and take the more difficult things and be willing to fail. And it's not easy, but you got to do it if that's...
Don Most, would you like to do another series? Another 7 years?
I don't think for 7 years, no. I would, for the longest time when I left the show, when my contract was up and I went on, I didn't want to do another series right then and there because it'd been a long haul.
Right.
A wonderful one, but I wanted to do other things. Now at this point, I'm definitely more open to doing one, only to get a chance to do something a little different and get back into the swing of that. I would do it now, and I would want it to be successful. But if it ran two years, that would be nice too, you know, as opposed to 7.
John, believe me, when you walk down the street, people say Ralph or Don. Ralph or Ralph.
It used to. They don't yell as much as they used to because I mean, when the show was in its prime, it was probably Ralph more than Don. Now it's probably more Donny than Ralph. It's interesting because just as a matter of fact, yesterday I was walking across the street and I heard someone go Donny, and I thought it was someone I knew, and I looked and it was just somebody who recognized me.
You,
but it was Donny.
You're recognized everywhere you go, aren't you? I mean, it's
not like I used to be.
But the shows are still showing, aren't they?
I know, but it's just not like it used to be. You know, it's
which is Terry, nice. Same thing. You know, 2 years is a long time on TV.
Yeah, I'm recognized a lot, but I really find that people in LA, especially where we live, they don't get like, oh. They just say, oh, how you doing? Oh, you're that person. Or,
if you're out of town, it's different, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but basically there's a real respect, and it's like the people are not in awe the way they used to be. You know, I even see big stars. I see Madonna out, and people just give them their respect and step back, and they'll say, oh, that's Madonna. Did you see her? And that's it. You know?
Teri Copley, I understand you like to dance. Where do you go? 2020 dancing?
I go to
put your pair of jeans on and just go out there.
Yeah, my basic uniform.
Because you're very low key, and I like that. Everyone in Hollywood's low key. You know, Madonna's low key. They're all very low key. They go out there and dance and carry on, mixed up with. It's the clubs. You mix with those people, and it's just a lot of fun. I see. How about you, Don? Do you go to clubs with your wife?
We haven't been to one in several years.
So you're a house man.
That's why he's still married.
Yeah, right. How did you meet your wife, Don Most?
She did an episode of Happy Days. That's how
she
we
did.
met. Yeah.
She's an actress.
She's like taking a sabbatical now with the kids, and which is what she wants to do, which is terrific. And but that's how we met. Yeah.
I like that whenever she take her time and devote her career to you.
Yeah, she'll probably go back.
Like Joanne Woodward did it to Paul Newman for a while. You know, same thing.
She took many years.
She took a while. You know,
I tried that, but I just got a husband that didn't
care.
Was
your husband an actor?
I was like, well, forget that. What a waste of my time.
Was your husband an actor too?
Yeah, one of them.
Who was it? Come on. Who was it? Who were you married to, darling? You want to tell us?
Chip Mayer. And I was married to a musician, but in both times I really started because all I really wanted to do was be a mother and have children and be married for 30 years. But I picked the wrong man, and so I said, well, forget that. That was the quickest thing. I learned the easiest on that. I was like, you're out.
I think I'd kill my wife. I'm coming to see it. I understand it.
I hope so.
The reviews are great. People are talking about it at the Tiffany Theater, and I am coming to see it, guys. And I understand you're great. Now, you can tell us the killer, no?
No, we don't want to reveal too much.
How many people in the show? How many are there?
There are 5.
5. That's a nice cast. It's a lovely little theater. It seats 99, is it?
99, but it has a really nice feel to it. It does.
It does?
Yeah.
It's a little round stage, is it? Or theater of the
They have 2 stages in that theater. One is more rounded, and the one we're in is proscenium. I mean, you know, conventional.
Don Most, do you go back to Brooklyn? visit your friends?
I used to go back a lot. Now I hardly have any friends and family living there anymore, and I haven't been back in several years, but I used to go back all the time. Now they're spread out.
Yes. You seem very spiritual, Don.
Do I?
Yeah, I have what do you think, Teri? Doesn't he seem like a spiritual gentleman? Concerned about the world? Are you concerned about the world, what's happening in the world? Both of you are, I think. You're both concerned about what's happening in the world.
Absolutely, but I haven't become, I am not like a major, I've become a major activist and heavily involved in those things.
Are you involved in?
I'm not involved. I mean, I do try to, you know, everything to be biodegradable, and I do try to, I'm not as bad, I'm not as good as my friend.
John
I try. I mean, you know, I'm concerned about it, but and I do try to do my part, but I'm not an extremist yet, which I really bang myself.
You did something for Iowa,
didn't
you? The Iowa Variety Club?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, you see, it's one of those things is that I don't believe in endorsing something or becoming involved with something unless I have the time to look through it and make sure that things are going to the right cause and that the morality is right in it.
Right.
Because a lot of these things, the people that appear on them get paid, the people that are doing them get paid.
For volunteers, they do get paid?
Yes, a lot of the charities. And I think, why would I want to do something where it's a big lie? It's like being a hypocrite.
Right.
But the Variety Club in Iowa does. Nobody gets paid. Everyone devotes their time. You go through, you can see the children, the things that are being done. And people are there. You feel this love, this. And so I'm honored to be a part of it, but I haven't yet found too many out here, although I haven't had time. I have 2 kids, and it's really hard because I raise them on my own. So it's really hard for me to do a career and kids at the same time. This is a whole nother subject in of itself.
John Most, looking back at your whole career, would you do it the same way? Would you?
God, I've had that discussion with people. It's a tough one because on one hand, the experience on the series was wonderful, and I wouldn't want to go back on that. But on the other hand, Teri talked about getting stereotyped and stuck in a certain image, and series television can do that, especially one that's been on for a long time and one that's of a certain content. And ours was, we never got the respect of the industry, which I don't think was ever proper. Yeah, it was kind of always looked at as
kids
as a very light, and it was, but it was.
I disagree with you.
But it was very. I mean, there was a lot of talent there, and as I was talking about now, look what these people are now doing, and so it's been difficult. It's been frustrating in that.
But it has been difficult
to break away from that on camera. It's been difficult, and
another thing that's frustrating is that, and what a lot of people forget is they do put you into a stereotype right away.
Right.
You work for them and you do something, you're put into a stereotype, but it's also the reason you're put into that stereotype is because you're good.